And we're back, TV2 Just for You with One on One. And with us today, we have Dr. Dale James, who here is getting ready to talk about not only is she rendering services to our seniors, but she has also launched this really great book, Designed, Destined, and Determined to Succeed. Dr. Gale, this book is just awesome. And let's talk a little bit about what this book really means to we women here in the Virgin Islands and throughout the nation and the world, because the topic that you touch is just not for Virgin Islands women. It's a topic that is prevalent worldwide. Let's talk about that.
That book came about after I felt like I got healed from my trauma.
Okay.
And so I suffered sibling sexual abuse here in the Virgin Islands, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, from the age of 8 to 10. From 3 of my siblings. And when I spoke to my mom, the response I got was not the response I expected. And I eventually got taken out of the home by Human Services of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And with me going through that experience and then having to live on my own while in high school and then having to maneuver my way and figure my way out, I was determined to not be what everybody else called me to be. You fast, you knew what you was doing, you wanted it, you'll never be anything. So I stood out on I was determined. I stood out on a goal to just, okay, everything you say I'm not gonna do, I'm gonna do that and some. So what I did was I went ahead and I did everything that I could do in my power. They said I wouldn't graduate. I had my daughter 2 weeks before my high school graduation. She was early. I was only 6 months pregnant. She was 2 pounds. But I graduated.
Wow.
And once I graduated, I worked at First VI Bank here. I left. I worked at Chase and then left and went to the States. And the reason I wanted to write a book is because I wanted people to know that your past and your trauma does not define you.
That's correct.
You know, trauma leads me to my triumph. It did. Because if I had not gone through that, I would not be the woman I am today. It was hard. It was difficult. It was uncomfortable. But what I can say is that trauma caused me to be who I am today. Because of the sexual abuse, I determined that I was going to be a therapist for people surviving trauma. So I deal with people that have been through domestic violence, severe domestic violence on this island. So I seek out for those people. So I created a nonprofit, Sanctuary of Change Incorporated, and what we do is help out women that have been through sexual abuse or domestic violence. We provide places to live, we provide free therapy, and we help them with reporting the abuse and being safe from the abuser. And so I wrote the book so that no matter what you've been through, if you can look at me, I would have never thought I'd be where I am today. But what I've been through, and I can sit here with you today and say I am Dr. Gail James, the CEO, the entrepreneur, the motivational speaker, the pastor, the wife, the mother, the motivational person. I mean, it's you can do it.
Absolutely. And it serves a great segue to open up those opportunities for young girls and young women who are viewing our show or who are part of our community to speak up and to raise their voice and create a sense of awareness to be able to address these issues that are plaguing our community and to be able to say, hey, you know, this has to stop, because we understand that these issues are prevalent and that a lot of times we don't like to discuss them. But this kind of platform lends itself to be able to create an awareness, inform, and also educate the individuals throughout the nation that this has to stop. And why not? If it happened to you, don't let it be a roadblock, but use it as a segue to empower other people. And I commend you for doing that. As I was perusing through the pages, and I'm going to really dig my heels deep in this because, of course, it's important. It's important to identify and grow from the experiences, but more importantly, to share the message and pass it along. We as women have to do more of that. Yes. We have to always reach back and pull each other her up and say, you know what, this was her message. Hey, you know what, let me pass this along. So certainly this is very important. And I thank you so much for sharing yourself and a piece of your story with us here. Designed, Determined, and Destined to Succeed. How did you come up with that title? Because that's really interesting and catchy.
God gave me it.
God gave that
Yes,
to you.
He
So
did.
you're a woman of faith. You talk that you are a pastor. How did that come into being? You're a jack of all trades. You can't keep yourself going. Let's talk about the spiritual part of that.
The spiritual part of me is knowing that it's nothing I did so great that God saved me. My story, though it is tragic and hurtful, I don't have a story of drugs. I don't have a story of alcohol. I don't have a story of prostitution. I had God. In all those dark times, I had God. And I didn't do everything right, but God kept me. And because He kept me, if all I can do is live for Him, then that is what I do now. I live for Him in every form of the word. So yes, I am a pastor of D Nation Church St. Thomas. The head church is D Nation Church in Jacksonville, Florida, who the leaders there are Overseer Myra B. Henry and Bishop Jerome Henry. And so we launched D Nation Church St. Thomas, and I am the campus pastor, Dr. Gail King of G Nation St. Thomas.
I can't keep up with you. We need roller skates to be able to do that. I mean, we're talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about therapy, we're also talking about pastoral work. And that is awesome to see that it doesn't make a difference. The experiences that you have passed, you know, is just keeping yourself on course and adjusting that sail to make sure that you move forward. Let's talk a little bit in terms of the VI Art, because I'm really excited about that project, because that talks about making an impact in the lives of adolescents. So I want us to touch bases on that, but I also want us to take a little pause for the cause while we give our viewing audience an opportunity to make sure that they do not move themselves from that dial, because we want to make sure that we have a little bit more of Dr. Gail James, who is here to share so much about herself. Make sure that if they want to make sure they want to get this book, where do they need to go?
They can email me at drgailjames.com.
Dr.
Gail
Gail
James
James
at gmail.com.
At gmail.com, and we'll be able to get a copy of the
Yes.
book. I'll get mine personally
Yes,
autographed.
yes.
I'll be able to do that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anything for you.
And I'm looking forward to really dig deep. So when we get back, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more with Dr. Gail James as she talks about this exciting program that is going to be impacting the lives of the adolescents right here in the Virgin Islands. So do not change that dial. One-on-one with TV2, making it happen just for you.